welcome to the top 5 meta loadouts for Season 3 Reloaded, and we're hopping straight in with the HDR, which you may be aware has received a small nerf to its ADS speed, but it still has that one-shot headshot. So in the muzzle, you're going to run that monolithic suppressor. The barrel is going to be the gain twist, so you keep that maximum bullet velocity. Under barrel, you're going to be going for that lightweight pod for that aiming idle sway, so when you scope in, it's a lot easier to hit the headshot. Then you're going to go for the rear grip. I'm going to put the quick draw grip. This is very, very important now, especially with that ADS nerf. So make sure you throw that on as well. And then with the firing mods, you're going to go for those overpressured rounds. This is the best 5 attachment HDR available. But if you do want to grab an 8 attachment version, so it's even better than before the nerf, you can throw the magazine on and go for the fast mag, giving you an even more ADS speed. So hold on, we'll equip that gunfire wildcard, which obviously is required. Then you can go for the stock and you can throw on the, personally for me, I like to put on the heavy stock to counter the flinch resistance. So if someone's shooting me, it's nice and easy. We then also go for the laser and stick that target laser on for even more aiming idle sway delay and aim walking steadiness. Makes it even easier to hit your shots. And I just use the default scope. But that's the best HDR. Next, we've got the AMAX, and this is definitely going to be used a lot more often, especially with ranked play, as the HDR isn't a one-shot kill. The optic I've been running, though, is the Willis 3X. This is super clean, reminds me of the OG one that we used to use in Verdansk. And then I customized the reticle. I just used the default. Obviously, if you've got the zombies T-pose, that is probably the best one available, but the default works perfectly well. Then you're going to go for the muzzle and you're going to put the compensator on for the 5 attachment version because you need that extra vertical recoil control and recoil stabilization. The barrel, you go for the reinforced, so you get damage range increase and bullet velocity, so you get those fast CTKs at range. Magazine, 45 round mag, of course, super important. And then you're going to go to the firing mods and the overpressured, so you get maximum bullet velocity. Then if you're running an 8 attachment version, you're going to add an underbarrel, vertical foregrip. We're then going to run a rear grip and go for that commando. So you get ADS, jumping, sprint to fire, and jumping ADS speeds. And then finally, the stock, which is the combat stock for that flinch resistance and also aim walking movement speed. Now, even though the AK-74 has received the biggest nerf in Season 3 Reloaded, it is still the fastest TTK up close, but some other SMGs have come into play, which we'll be looking at a little bit later. But the muzzle you're gonna run is, of course, that compensator. You're then gonna run an underbarrel with a Ranger foregrip for extra horizontal recoil control and sprinting movement speed. The magazine, the flip mag, is even more important than it was once before because of that faster ADS. It counters a bit of the nerf that the AK has received. Then you're gonna go for a rear grip, and we're gonna run that ergonomic grip for faster dive to fire, slide to fire, ADS, and jumping ADS speeds. And then stock is the infiltrator stock. Then, if you would like to run the 8 attachment version, firing mods, you go for the recoil spring just for extra recoil control. The barrel is gonna be that reinforced barrel for extra damage range and bullet velocity. And then the optic is just whichever 1X you prefer. I go for the Volshkiv Reflex personally, and that is the 8 attachment build. Next, we've got a weapon that I am very intrigued by because it could potentially mean that the burst meta is back because its base damage has been increased to 50 per bullet, which means you can technically 2 burst an opponent. So you'll be rocking the AEK. Now, you're gonna go run that Volshkiv Reflex. We then run the barrel with the reinforced barrel for the extra damage range. Compensator on the muzzle. Of course, you could run the monolithic as well if you want extra damage range, but this just helps make sure your burst is as tight as possible. Then we're going to be running the magazine, and we're going to go for that extended mag 1. And then finally, of course, overpressured rounds for that increased bullet velocity. But if you're going to go ahead and run an 8 attachment, which is something I would definitely recommend with this, we are going to go with the underbarrel, add that vertical grip in, rear grip, going to go for that quick draw for that faster ADS speed, and of course the stock, which you're going to have that combat stock for that flinch resistance and aim walking movement speed. If this doesn't fully work for you, you can, and you struggle hitting your shots consistently, you can swap out the overpressured rounds for recoil springs. But for me, this could be absolutely broken with a 2 burst meta. Next up, we've got an SMG that is a big surprise. The HRM9. Yes, we have an MW3 weapon in the meta once again. This won't be available to use in ranked play, but it kills just as fast as the AK-74. On the muzzle, you got that Bruin Pendulum for recoil control and gun kick control, the Thorn 90 barrel. We've then got the Jack Slash for movement speed, sprints fire, and vertical recoil, the 50-round mag, and then the folding stock. One big thing to be aware of this is, as it is a Modern Warfare 3 weapon, you cannot use the Gunfighter wildcard just yet, so you are restricted to 5 attachment builds, but that will hopefully change in the near future. But then if you'd like to use a competitive Black Ops 6 SMG for ranked play, I would recommend the Kompackt 92, one of the fastest TTKs in the game, very mobile and a lot of fun. I personally prefer it over the Saug, but that's just personal preference. You've got the compensator, the reinforced barrel, the Ranger foregrip, the extended mag 3, and then recoil springs. Also, one thing that you're going to want to be doing when you're grabbing any 8 attachment weapons is having the Grekhova pistol as your secondary. This is the best secondary in the game if you're not using a rocket launcher to destroy vehicles with. The muzzle, you're going to run that monolithic suppressor, so you've got bullet velocity increase, damage range, and of course, staying off radar. Then for the barrel, you go for that reinforced barrel just so you get increased damage range as well as additional bullet velocity. Then the magazine that you're going to run is the extended mag 3. This gives you a 60-round mag, which is absolutely insane for a secondary. And then for the stock, you're going to run the weighted stock. This is going to give you an alternate ADS, which I'll show you in a second, as well as bringing down that recoil. And then the laser that we go for is that steady aim laser to kind of make it so you're as accurate as possible in this alternate ADS. So if I go into the firing range quickly, you'll see exactly what I mean when I scroll down. So as I fire the weapon, it's like a more accurate ADS, but you can hold positions, take people down, and then also then have your 8 attachment AMAX, for example, so you can win situations at all distances. Give it a go and let me know what you think about it in the comments. And then one additional loadout that you might want to use is the Saug if you don't love the Kompackt that I recommended earlier. For that, you're going to run the compensator. You've then got the long barrel, so you've got that additional damage range, which is really important with this build. The vertical foregrip, the extended mag 2, and then the balanced stock to round it up. And like, this is a lot of fun to use, as well as all the other loadouts I've shown you in this video. But this would be my suggested loadout to be rocking. Go for the CR56 AMAX with those 5 attachments. Partner it with the Kompackt 92, then run a smoke grenade, impact grenades, survivor, cold-blooded, and tempered. Honestly, this is the best perk setup. Even though Survivor got nerfed, it's all about allowing your teammates to res you faster. Cold-blooded because it completely counters people running tracker, as well as a few other benefits. And then tempered because of the amount of plates around. Let me know what you think. Share what your loadout is going to be down in the comments below, and I will see you in Season 3 Reloaded. Now, I wanted to quickly throw in a couple of other fun loadouts that you might want to use, because some weapons actually got quite surprising buffs that we weren't expecting, but the TAC-56 or the SCAR is one of those. The setup is the RF Crown 50, the 17.5 Tundra Pro barrel, the XRK bow breaker grip, and then 60-round mags with the high grain rounds. It's so much fun that they're bringing back some of these original metas like the TAC-56 and the M4. But those are my top meta loadouts that you might want to be running in Season 3 Reloaded. Things will be subject to change as we find and discover things, but make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.